distinguished senators, thank you so much for the questions. And I also want to thank you for speaking glowingly about my CV. Thank you very much. I will start from the question by our revered Senate President. Was CBN in competition with federal government? Of course, CBN can never be in competition with the federal government because Central Bank of Nigeria is an economic arm of federal government, which handles or oversees the monetary policy functions of the federal government. The second arm is the Ministry of Finance, Budget, Planning, AGF, that oversees the fiscal policy arm. And technically, I don't really see anything wrong about the structure of the CBN, but the only issue which I will be open to this annual chamber is around the governance structure of supervising the CBN itself. I want to state that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. There are three highest decision-making bodies in Central Bank of Nigeria: the Committee of Governors, Monetary Policy Committee, and the Board of Directors. The CBN governor is the chairman of these three committees, which is good. There's nothing bad in this because all over the world, the independence of the CBN must be guaranteed. But the governor is just the first among equals. There are 5 governors in the Central Bank of Nigeria, a governor and 4 deputy governors. We must ensure that the appointment of the 4 deputy governors must be independent of the Central Bank governor, so that they are not subservient to the governor himself. Number 2 is the fact that the reporting line is the governor to the presidency. And for 5 years, the president may not see any of the deputy governors. There should be occasions, it could be once in a quarter, once in 6 months, that the entire committee of governors will meet with the Mr. President, and they are from their own perspective. There's what we call minority opinions. In all the minutes of the COG, of the MPC, and of the Board of Directors, they are always documented. Most of these controversial decisions coming out of the CBN were actually taken by either 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. There is always a minority opinion. So far, the 3 as the governor by their side, they have their way. The minority will have their say. Even they may have superior arguments. Once in a while, I believe the presidency should undertake to go through some of these minority opinions at the Committee of Governors meetings, at the Board of Directors meetings, or Monetary Policy Committee meetings. A number of issues may actually come out of it. And lastly, sir, I would also suggest that the economic management team of the country, of the nation, which comprises of the Finance Minister, the Budget and National Planning, the CBN Governor, the Attorney General of the Federation, and some other relevant ministries, must have some subtle oversight on CBN in terms of interrogating a lot of decisions of Central Bank of Nigeria. If CBN knows that there is a body is going to report to, in terms of the list of the companies and individuals they allocated foreign exchange to, how the MPC arrived at the interest rate, the benchmark rate, the volume of money created, in terms of BDCs licensed, payment system, and a lot of other things, even development, finance, intervention, and lending, they will be very, very moderate and they will be careful, because this is an abnormal situation in the country and must be handled unconventionally.
Before then, distinguished senators, somebody was providing solutions to some of our problems. And I noticed that some senators were distracted. The things he said here, he pointed out that there was no proper monitoring of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And that, in fact, there is no monitoring. And that in all the meetings of the various arms of the CBN, there were always minority opinions that may even turn out to be the opinion that would have salvaged the economy He also pointed out that there was a big flaw, and that flaw is the fact that the president of the country only meets with the central bank governor alone. And there was never a time he demanded to see the other 4 deputy governors. He also, and therefore, whatever the central bank governor tells the president would look as if that is the decision of the CBN, when in reality they have their own diverse opinions. And he also pointed out that there was no kind of organized or statutory meeting that involved the Accountant General of the Federation, the Governor of Central Bank, the Budget Planning Division, the CBN governors, and those 4 deputy governors, even once in a year, that in 5 years of being there, nothing like that. And therefore, what came out of CBN did not reflect the totality of their decisions, and so things went wrong. It is not as if CBN was in competition with government, but that nobody was supervising CBN. And therefore, whatever decisions they took there, they had nobody to report to. So I think this is a food for thought for distinguished senators. And that means that we must revisit the act that set up the CBN. Because most of the problems we are seeing cannot be answered by him. But he cannot stand here and condemn the very institution that he belonged. But he has at least hinted us that it is not every decision that he agreed with, or the other people, the other deputy governors agreed with. So we probably would not have been where we are now if indeed we had a proper oversight and monitoring of the CBN by the act itself. I think you should not expose more. We welcome you, and we'd like you to take a bow. We'll consider your case after this.